Hey, well, it's Natalie for Not Just Our Boys Kit Club, and today I am using the Spice Cider Limitless Kit that was for the month of October to scrap these 3 silly photos of my cute little boys and have tell a funny story or a nice story, or I don't know if it's a nice story. It's just a story of how they are. I am using my heavy white gesso to create a little anchoring like rectangle behind their photos here. And then I'm going to use some texture paste too, but I want, so this is a Paper Rose paper. It is the We Get Adventure D paper, and Paper Rose papers are very, they have a slick texture to them. So I've definitely needed this gesso to allow the texture paste and everything to stick to the paper. So I just smoothed it out with my finger and I let it dry. And now I'm going to use my favorite matte texture paste from Ranger to just put it through the small end of the chevron stencil that also came in the Spice Cider kit. I'm going to do it all the way across the rectangle, and it gives some really great little texture. I let it dry and you can see right here all that great texture. Isn't that fun? So now I'm going to use some liquid watercolor and powdered watercolor. The liquid is a Ken Oliver and it's a yellow gold, and it has like some shimmery metallic in it. And then I'm not sure of the brand of the brown one. It's like a bronze color and it's very shiny and shimmery, glittery. And you just sprinkle it on there a little bit. I usually powdered pigments kind of spread a lot. This one didn't, so I was almost a little too cautious at first, but add another generous spoonful and spritz it and let it run in between the texture paste, and it gave me really beautiful shimmer, and it will blend really nicely with the yellow, and I'm really happy with how this ends up. It kind of looks a hot mess right now, but when it dries, it's really pretty. And then of course we're just setting the photos on top of it, so it just peeks out from around the edges. I did like I was saying earlier, the paper is shiny, and so I had gotten a few splatters at the top, and so I just wiped them up with a paper towel. Now I'm just adding a little bit of the splatters just to get a bit of a different look, because it will set on top and kind of give a darker pigment. You can kind of see those in the up close photos. But now I'm putting everything back on the page. I have my 3 photos. I pulled out from the Farmstead Harvest all of the little house die cuts, which inspired my story today. And I have that journaling printed right there, and I'm gonna house it in that little frame, the toast frames from 49 and Market that came in the kit, and then it's gonna nestle right there under those houses, and then my title is gonna be at the top. So the title is Mostly Sweet, Sometimes Savage. And so I have that sweet word that I foiled with my hot foil machine, and then I die cut it, and then I used my favorite Heather Alphas from Pink Fresh Studio to die cut these gold glitter paper for the word savage, and I'm only using the outline of the word. And then I'll use the yellow small alphas that came in the Spice Cider kit to spell out the rest of my title. I pulled out all the foliage that I would like to use from the Farmstead Harvest collection, and now I'm also going to pick out a few chippies from this Mente Chippy board. This is the foliage one that came in the Essentials kit, and they're very delicate, so use a X-Acto knife or something if you have one when you're getting them out, because my berries, they did break, but it ended up working out because I can place them in 2 different spots. So I just pressed them all down onto that embossing pad and inked them up, and now I am covering them in heat embossing powder. I'm using a gold sparkle powder from Wow, and I will heat set them. I think I only did 1 coat this time. They turn out really beautifully. I'll just show you one that I heat set right here. You can see the melty bits. You can see it kind of changing color, and that's how you know that it is set. And we will then be able to tuck them in with all of the cardstock ephemerate to create a really nice fall look here. So time to kind of assemble everything. I did decide to stick up my photos on some foam because they have all that texture behind them. I didn't want the texture to show through my photo paper. So I did pop them up, and I also will end up adding extra adhesive, you'll see in a minute, because even though that foam is really sticky, because it is texture paste and watercolors, it didn't want to stick to all of that. So I did have to add some extra Nuva adhesive and let it dry for a minute. But I'm gonna put the row of photos down at the bottom and then kind of tuck everything from there, because I want everything to overlap a little bit and touch to bring cohesion to the page. So I want to make sure that my elements that are supposed to be showing on top get stuck down before that, and I can tuck everything else around them. I'm gonna overlap the word savage on top of the journaling and the frame, and then go from there. I will use my Nuva adhesive to stick everything down, including these alphas, because again, that paper from Paper Rose, it's really beautiful and it is a cool texture, but things don't really like to stick to it as well as one would expect. So I just don't want anything floating off in my page protector later on. So I definitely recommend using your Nuvo. Sorry about my hair in there. I had a lot of fun creating this page, and I was glad that I literally I had the cute photos. They were dressed up, I think, for picture day maybe, and I had taken them at home in front of our fireplace, and I was like, what story am I gonna tell? Like, I know I have a story to tell about them lately, so the houses inspired me to kind of talk about how they always are like, I wish we lived in a neighborhood, because we don't live far from other houses, but we don't live in like an HOA neighborhood, where you run down the sidewalk to your friend's house. And so they're always talking about that, which I get the idea of it, but I like that it kind of makes them play outside together. Whereas I think that if we lived in a neighborhood, Heath would kind of abandon Lachlan to go play with his older friends, and I think it's good for them that they run around and play together. And we do have a neighborhood literally across the street from us that they just built. So I was like, look, you have the best of both worlds. But I talk about how they kind of have to be stopped from screaming outside sometimes, because they literally sound like something bad is happening. I'm like, luckily all of our neighbors are like really old and they don't hear, but we're just not neighborhood people, okay? Like, people would be constantly like, oh my God, your kids are screaming, shut up. It's just not for us. So I talked about that and how it makes them get along, and they're the best of frenemies. And so they are mostly sweet, but sometimes savage, y'all. I'm just tucking all of the leaf clusters around the photos and a little bit around the title here, making sure I kind of evenly distribute the color. And I did pull out some gold foil pieces from the Farmstead Harvest die cuts, and there's a few flowers and a few acorns, and so I'm just kind of playing around with those, seeing where I'd like to put them all, and then I'll go back in and stick them all down with my Nuva adhesive. I do like to leave the ends not stuck down so I can kind of floof them up and give the page a nice dimension. And we're about to be done. So find me over on the Not Just for Boys Kit Club blog today. I will also post this in the Facebook group. And there are still the Spice Cider Limitless kits available in the store. And then we're almost to reveal time for the November kits, and they're gorgeous. So I hope you guys are inspired by this page. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll put the links to all those things down below. And that's it. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.